Hello and welcome to my channel. It's been a little while since I've uploaded a video, about 2 weeks. Sorry about that, regular viewers. I have just taken on a new job at work and it's been a bit crazy and a bunch of other reasons that come with being an adulty adult. But I'm back now and I'm going to sort of pick up from where I left off last video, show you how that stuff's got on that I planted out. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch my last video and this one will make a little bit more sense to you. But while I'm in the polytunnel, it's been really windy today, so I'm sort of hiding in the polytunnel. So while I'm in here, I'm just going to show you a few things. So my potatoes that I planted on St. Patrick's Day have gone absolutely wild. They're huge. So that is a fantastic start on the potato front. I'm going to fill the pots up a little bit more, but they're looking strong, very strong. The tomato plants. So I did put a few out here just kind of as a trial early on. Because as you know, if you've been watching my videos, my tomato plants are absolutely huge. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with them. So there's a few here that, from your suggestions, that I decided to put in the polytunnel, and I've just put them at the back. They're sort of my least desirable of the tomatoes that I was growing. And yeah, they're doing pretty well. Let me turn you around and I'll show you. Yeah, it's middle of April and I've got tomato plants nearly reaching the roof. Beautiful. Good in one sense, because I'm going to be producing tomatoes like really early. But on the other hand, kind of takes the excitement out of that early year thing of planting the tomatoes in. The ones that I've got in the polytunnel are absolutely ridiculous. They are going to be humongous when they come in. I'm going to be planting a forest in here. And another thing that I wanted to show you, there's various other things in here growing, but not where they're supposed to be. I'll show you what I mean. I used my own compost in here and it didn't get hot enough and kill a lot of the seeds that were inside. So I've got all sorts of weird and wonderfuls growing in my greenhouse, growing in the polytunnel currently. I could almost not plant anything in here and get produce from here. I'll show you what I mean. So, where I kind of chucked stuff in the compost, I've got all sorts growing. That is a tomato plant. Tomato plant just growing randomly. Don't know what sort of tomato it is. Probably one from the supermarket. What's that? Is a potato. So that's probably one left from last year that I left in the compost bin, and now it's a potato plant. Over there's quite a few of those. That's sunflowers from my sunflowers from last year. There's all sorts. There's little clusters of peppers where I'd just put whole peppers that had gone bad from the fridge in the compost. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I could genuinely not plant anything in here and there would be all sorts of massive plants in here in a few months. But not the ones that I want. So I'm going to have to hoe all of those over. I'm going to top it with some fresh compost. I'm going to buy some more. I'm not going to do that until the tomato plants are due to go in. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never seen that before. Maybe I've just invented a new style of gardening where you just bury your vegetables, bury your unwanted vegetables inside the polytunnel and just see what happens. A bit of a new take on chaos gardening, I suppose. Anyway, before the wind and rain comes back, because it is getting a bit darker again, let's go outside and show you what happened with the stuff that I planted a couple of weeks ago. Come on. Now, this is the bed that I added my spinach, my beetroot and my peas to. And I must admit, I thought this video was going to be showing you that snails had eaten all of it. And although they have had a nibble, they're all doing quite well and they've managed to establish themselves pretty well. The spinaches are like 5 times the size they were, and the beetroots are about 2 or 3 times the size. And the peas have started coming up. So, all in all, pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. And fingers crossed for some beetroots this year. Really struggled with them last year, and I'm hoping, I don't know why I struggled with them. It was supposed to be one of the easiest things to grow, but I did. So, fingers crossed, we'll get some nice ones this year. Over here is the herbs that I potted on that I got from the garden centre, and they've settled in pretty nicely. I must admit, the thyme started to take on its silvery colour. When I got it, it was very much green. The sage has got a bit more purpley, which is also good, but it's got quite big as well. It's quite a lot bigger than it was. Same with the oregano. The oregano's put on some decent size. And the bay leaves are actually starting to flower. So all in all, pretty good. I've also got a lavender, which I bought the other day, which I've put over there for a nice little add to the herb garden. I've also got some rosemary up the top there, which I might move down here at some point. Just have all my herbs in, sort of dotted around here, because I think that'd be quite nice. My purple sprouting broccoli, I have harvested some more of this yesterday. It's so good. I never knew. Like, I know I said at the beginning of the year, oh, I'm probably not going to bother with brassicas too much. But someone did comment and they said, you don't know how much nicer they are if you grow them. And genuinely they are. It's weird. I've just been like sort of boiling them. I'd like to steam them, but I haven't got a steamer. And they're just really rich and buttery. It tastes like you've cooked them in butter, even though there's no butter. But anyway, there's quite a lot left on there. Probably like one more harvest. I'm going to leave them for a couple more days and let those little heads grow on a little bit more. And then I'm going to harvest all of that and compost all the leaves and stuff. Put them in the compost bin. And I've got a bed clear as well. Put some more stuff in. I've got to do some more sowing today. Probably not going to film it. I want to sow my nasturtiums because I have sown some in the greenhouse and they're really struggling and not doing particularly well. I might re-sow some sunflowers. I need to get some celery going. I've bought this really nice celery. It's like a striped one called candy stripe, something like that. But it's a nice red one with streaks going down it. And I think that's going to look really nice. Right, another thing that I planted last video, and something that's actually done it really well, and I could probably start harvesting from now, is the salad bed. I put some rocket and 2 different types of lettuce in, and again, I thought they would be eaten immediately, but they've done extremely well. I'll show you. Ready for the reveal? Yeah. As you can see, they've gone absolutely wild. And I can harvest from them already. So that's really good. It's really nice to be able to start harvesting stuff this early in the year. Last year I was really late starting to it, so it's really nice this year to be ahead of the game, to start harvesting stuff already. You can see my garlic there in the background. They're huge. Last year I popped some garlic in completely wrong time of year and ended up with some really disappointing garlic bulbs, but they are going to be absolutely massive. And fingers crossed for no bulb rotting. Speaking of bulb rotting, I'm hoping I don't get any white rot on my onions. I'll just show you. I did say in a couple of videos ago I was going to trial a couple of different ways of growing the onions and see how they go. So I'll show you what I've got. So the onions on this side, as you can see, they're quite a bit taller. These onions I put in trays and then grew them on a little bit before I put them in the ground. Onion sets. So these onion sets I planted in trays and then grew them on a bit before I put them in the ground. Whereas these ones I just put straight in the ground and see what would happen. I mean, they're not masses behind, so I don't know if it's really worth doing the tray thing, but we'll see later on. And then these onions I grew from seed. And as you can see, they're quite a bit smaller, but they're still looking pretty strong. So we'll see in a couple of months when I harvest them, whether or not seed, onion set straight in the ground, or onion set in trays earlier on is the best one for me. And then that will help me decide what I'm going to do next year. Fingers crossed for some good onions all across the board, and then it doesn't really matter what I do. The veg trug. So I got the veg trug and I hadn't put anything in it last time I spoke to you, but I have since. So I've put some spring onions in there, some carrots and some parsnips. I'm very excited to say pretty much all of it has germinated. I'll show you. So these are some spring onions that I put in module trays a little while ago. So I've just put them in the end just to make sure I get something going in it a bit earlier. But these same ones, I think they're called Holland Red, because they're red. I don't know if you can see the bottom of those. Yeah, you can start seeing the red. They're just a red spring onion. But I've got quite a lot more coming up here. I've got 3 rows because we eat a lot of spring onions, so I thought, why not? And then over here, I've got the resistor fly carrot. The germination's a little bit more, well, not as strong here, but we will see, because there's a few more that I can see trying to pop up. So give it a little bit longer. Hopefully, if anything, I just means I won't have to thin them out as much. And then I've got some deep purple carrots here, and they're pretty strong. They've germinated fairly consistently in their rows. So those I'll let them grow on a little bit more, and then I will prick them out so they've got better spacing. And at the end, these are gladiator parsnips, and Jesus, are they? Look how many have come up, nearly all of them, I think. Really, really strong germination, really strong growth. And hopefully that continues and I get some really nice parsnips later on in the year. But that's pretty good. I'm really happy with that I've got the veg trug completely full. Before I let you go for the day, I'll just show you inside the greenhouse because it's become a running thing at the moment of me showing you inside here and what a jungle it's become. And it just keeps getting worse. So have a look. Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. And the situation's getting even worse because the cucumbers are growing really fast as well. But I'm hoping, I mean, our last frost date actually, where I am, is mid-April. But I can see on the forecast there's a couple of quite low temperature nights. Even though the tomato plants are doing quite well in the polytunnel, I don't want to risk it with my whole lot of tomatoes just yet. So I'm going to give it a couple more weeks until the beginning of May, and then look at the forward forecast for the next couple of weeks. Then I've got a week off in May from work as well. Worst comes to worst, I'll just do it all then, and I'll just have to struggle with the fact that I've got like 5 foot tall tomato plants in here. Right, I'll wrap up the video for now. I do have my peppers in the house as well, which I want to show you one day, but just haven't got round to it. Maybe next video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I'll try not to leave it so long until I upload again. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and take care.